In American politics today, there are a few political communicators that are heads and shoulders above the rest. They used to say this about Bill Clinton. They used to say this about Ronald Reagan. But those gentlemen pale in comparison to these two. One is Gavin Newsom. I've talked about my admiration for his ability to communicate and hold on to ideas and break complex matters down in a simple way for even dum-dums like me to understand. But Pete Buttigieg is another one of these characters. He's a guy, when he came on the scene running for president in 2020, he was a breath of fresh air. Someone who really can distillate political ideas and concepts and accomplishments and lay them out. And apparently another one of his skills is to skewer, to absolutely devastate idiots like the Republican choice for Vice President JD Vance. And in this first clip, it takes him less than 60 seconds, fewer than 60 seconds, to absolutely wreck JD Vance, calling him what he is, talking about what his motivations are, and it is a thing of beauty. And then we got another clip where there's a follow-up question where he does equally as well. But first, let's start with the 60-second clock. I don't think there's a clock, but of watching Pete Buttigieg just do work on the dipshit JD Vance.
Do you think that there's someone she could pick as her vice president that would make him regret that choice?
Well, again, that's going to be her call, her process. But what I will say is that the choice of JD Vance is a regrettable choice because he's somebody who was at his most convincing and effective when he talked about how unfit for office Donald Trump is. And he has not explained any reason, other than, of course, his obvious interest in power, why he would have changed his mind on that. Remember, JD Vance's whole identity is that he is connected to Appalachia, a place that is being hurt so profoundly by the opioid crisis. So the fact that he didn't just refer to Donald Trump as an idiot, though he didn't just say all kinds of things about how he was terrible, but compared Donald Trump to opioids, that is literally the darkest, most negative thing someone connected to Appalachia could possibly say about a politician. And that was in public, right? In private, he was comparing him to Hitler, reportedly. He has yet to explain why his opinion would be any different other than his own search for power.
Find me a better 1-minute clip that just explains the motivations of JD Vance. Find it for me, please. Link it below. I want to see it. Because that lays bare exactly who JD Vance is. It lays bare who the Republicans see fit to put into power. A man who has absolutely called Donald Trump America's Hitler, has admitted the sexual assault record of Donald Trump and asked the question, what percentage of America has Donald Trump not sexually assaulted? And this is a question that Pete just got to, that needs to be asked not just of JD Vance, but others who have changed their agenda items, who have changed their stripes, so to speak. And I get criticized for it, but people like Michael Cohen. What was it that made you change your mind about Donald Trump, other than the fact that you had a bad time personally? All of these people who did ultimately change their mind about Donald Trump, was it for your personal gain, for the clicks, for the clout, for the fame, or is it something noble? But you need to be able to name it, and JD Vance has not done that. Why? Why did you change your mind? Why was it so clear and salient for you that he was a destructive force in American history, and now all of a sudden you'll be his vice president? These are questions that absolutely need to be answered. Otherwise, he's not credible. He's not qualified. He's not ready to be a leader, to be the vice president of the United States of America, certainly. And the fact that he's lied about his background, he's propped up the pulling himself up by the bootstraps nonsense when he's been backed by billionaires since day one. He is a nightmare candidate. Anyway, they go on and they ask about when he's talking about changing his mind about Donald Trump. And it's a little bit more fulsome an answer. It's not quite the banger of the 60-second, but watch this.
He says, I watched Donald Trump in office. That's what changed my mind. You don't. You're not buying that.
That doesn't make any sense, especially coming from the Midwest. He's from Ohio. I grew up in Indiana and live in Michigan. I have seen how the industrial Midwest went into a manufacturing recession under Donald Trump and has experienced a manufacturing renaissance under the Biden-Harris administration. Why is that? Because the Biden-Harris administration has led on policies that have factories rising out of the ground of places, including places like near where I grew up, that haven't seen this kind of investment in a generation. How could JD Vance or anybody else initially think that Donald Trump is a disaster? Watch him lead the country into a manufacturing recession. This is, by the way, before COVID, let alone everything that happened through the mismanagement of COVID, and then say, oh, now I've seen the light. He's a great leader and I want to be on his team. I think we all know why JD Vance changed his mind.
Indeed, we do know exactly why JD Vance changed his mind. Because there's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of clout to be earned when you are a right-wing demagogue, when you support the dear leader, Donald Trump. You see it all the time with idiots who start their podcasts or the Tulsi Gabbards of the world. Again, that's another one. What exactly made you change your mind, Tulsi? But the manufacturing, which is local to the Appalachia, is a great point. But I would also go back to the opioid crisis. They're trying to criminalize their way out of this. They're trying to police their way out of an addiction crisis when that is a medical response that is necessary, not a show of force with armed agents of the state. You're not going to cure addiction through police action. I mean, tell that to Donald Trump and the Republicans who believe that police are the answer for everything. If you suspect someone shoplifting, you kill them. Then you ask questions later. Then you adjudicate, I guess. I mean, there's never been a police shooting that Republicans did not support. There has never been a cop who blew somebody away unarmed that the Republicans did not defend. Maybe I'm a little far afield here, but this is what we got. Thank you to Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, doing a great job, as always. What do you think? I would love to know. You can leave a comment below. We can talk about this. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Please, if you are in a position to do so and you have $2 to throw away, why don't you throw it away my way? You can help me produce these videos right here on YouTube. Help me produce the podcast we do. Click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month, and you can take part in this operation. I would appreciate it. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. That's a great way to support this work. Follow me on the social media if that's your thing. @Dollemore is where I am. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.